当前，全球面临着多重危机与挑战，联合国可持续发展目标进程堪忧，各国应如何搁置地缘政治差异，从而加强合作，以使可持续发展议程重回正轨？中国在全球治理中发挥着怎样的作用？中国式现代化为发展中国家提供了怎样的经验？为了回答这些问题，在由全球化智库和中国人民对外友好协会联合主办的第9届中国全球智库创新年会上，我们特别采访到了联合国驻华协调员常启德。
The interlocking crisis which I mentioned today in my speech, the crisis of conflicts, the crisis of a climate crisis, the crisis of health, the pandemic which has had a big economic impact, the crisis of rising inequality, and the crisis of financial flows that is able to help countries reach their objectives as regards the Sustainable Development Goals. And that is why the Secretary General is talking about rescuing the SDGs. We need $4 trillion year on year to be able to put the SDGs back on track. And this is where we need global collaboration, because the threats humanity faces are the same. Climate change is affecting everybody. It knows no borders. Health pandemics is affecting everybody. It affects no borders. Conflicts are affecting everybody. There are about 80 ongoing conflicts, more forced displacements. 120 million people have already been displaced as a result of conflicts and climate change and poverty and instability. So it is very important for the world to come together, because this is the only hope that the world has, where all 193 member states of the United Nations agreed that the Sustainable Development Goals is the North Star towards lifting people up, helping them move out of poverty, helping them to end hunger. So these are important areas where the world can converge around. There are geopolitical differences, understood, but we can still work together in areas of common interest. It's very important, because like I mentioned today in my speech, nearly 90% of the population in China used to be poor in 1979. The per capita GDP was about $180. Today, the per capita GDP is at about $12,500. And we hope by 2030, China can achieve $25,000. What is important is, while it has lifted people out of poverty, it has ended hunger, we need China's global leadership now to move the aspects of multilateralism forward. As the UN resident coordinator in China, I'm helping other countries which are still struggling with poverty can learn from China and China's experiences. But we see China's role on the global stage in the United Nations system to be able to be a bridge builder across the Committee of Nations. And I think China can be an important country, important avenue to help bridge the divide that we are seeing all across the world. Any member state that takes an initiative to give an accelerator and a boost to the SDGs, it is most welcome. So I welcome the Global Development Initiative, and what the UN is doing in China together with the Chinese government is to align and make sure that the Global Development Initiative is in lockstep and in synergy with the Sustainable Development Goals, which I said is clearly important. And we welcome initiative that helps to give a boost to the Sustainable Development Goals. We commend it, and China, the UN in China has a cooperation framework with the government of China, which is from 2021 to 2025, and one of the key strategic pillars of that is people and prosperity. How do we maintain the velocity of social growth, of economic growth, and not have setbacks like COVID had setbacks on economies across the world? What we need to do is make sure that that growth happens, and with China's ambition of having 800 million people as middle income middle income people by 2035 is a welcome step. So this whole hope of creating a moderately prosperous society is an important one. The fact is that in 4 decades China has been able to achieve this is a good way to be able to share these lessons, and I see China's role in helping us to share these lessons with the rest of the world.